Hi everyone, welcome to Raise to Rise podcast, a place where we discuss bite-sized wisdom nuggets with easy-to-follow practices to live a better life. Raise to Rise podcast is supported by Vedic Seva. Vedic Seva is an herbal dietary supplement line set out to change the industry by dedicating the company to quality, safety, and holistic approach on making the wellness journey safe, healthy, and natural. If you want to start adding some natural herbs in your life, then head over to ayurvedicseva.com and use our promo code RAISE2RISE for 30% discount. Once again, it's ayurvedicseva.com and use our promo code RAISE2RISE for 30% discount. I am your host, Mital Patel, a parenting junkie, Ayurveda enthusiast, and an advocate of conscious living. Any parent out there can vouch for just how complicated things become when a child starts reaching the age of hard questions. We've all been there. And the questions that I used to get were like, why is the sky blue? Or is there a God? Or what about Santa Claus? Or why does daddy have to go to work every day? What makes snow in the cloud, etc. And now recently, I was asked by my 9-year-old, Mama, what does consciousness mean to you? And in return, I asked, what does it mean to you? And he said, consciousness means being aware of what is happening at the moment. And I was like, whoa, in my head. And I said, that's correct. And added that consciousness is not anything material. It is about the experience. So today I wanted to dive a little deeper into this what is consciousness question. And on a side note, even Ayurveda teaches us that we're not the body and the body is just a vehicle for the expression of our consciousness. For those of you who are new to Ayurveda, it is a 5,000 years old health system originated in India. It is also known as a sister science of yoga. Now, Ayurveda says we are a combination of earth, water, air, fire, and space. And there is this fundamental intelligence that puts all these things together in a particular way to make life out of it. And believe or not, this same intelligence that is lying out there as mud sits within us as a life. Wow. I mean, just wow. What an incredible transformation, isn't it? Whether it's a tree, a bird, an insect, a worm, an elephant, a human being, or the entire universe. Just about anything is made up of the simple material. And we call this intelligence that makes life happen as consciousness. And you know what? The only reason why we experience life and aliveness is because we're all conscious. For example, if I was unconscious at the moment, there is no way I would be talking to you all. Or, like when we're in deep sleep, we don't know if we're alive or not until we wake up. So, we all are conscious at some extent. And the question is, to what level are we conscious? Because consciousness is there all the time. If it was not, we would not be able to convert our breath and our food into life. We're alive, and this means we're conscious. But this is like having minimal access. Once we identify ourselves with the consciousness, we will identify everyone as one. This is where yoga comes, because yoga itself means union, and we humans are always trying to experience the sense of union in so many ways. But again, consciousness is not a painkiller that we can take it with water and it will result in fixing our symptoms. Rather, it's an expression to live by. Now, this understanding of consciousness was from a Vedic perspective. Let's change our perspective a little to understand more about consciousness. So, once Albert Einstein, a Nobel Prize winner, said, no problem can be solved from the same consciousness that created it. We must learn to see the world anew. We can believe that these words came from his personal experience and helped him to explore both science and life itself. He offered us an example of what can be learned by looking deeply into the nature to reach a deeper understanding of all life, and by following our ideas to their logical conclusion in our minds before acting upon them in the world. Now let's try to apply this quote to our lives. Let me explain how. We can see that we cannot create abundance by staying in a consciousness of poverty, nor can we gain a sense of power in our lives while identifying ourselves as a victim. So we must change the way we look at things, as Dr. Wayne Dyer says. So for example, situations that begin from anger or fear can have a little chance of reaching a state of peace. We have to find ways to seek a bigger picture. And one way to do this is to shift our perspective to see the situation from another's point of view, and ideally the perspective of all others involved. And this is the way we actually open ourselves up to numerous possibilities and expand our vision. This alone can shift our feelings of anger to compassion and the desire for a positive solution for all that are involved. Once we have opened our mind to greater possibilities, we can connect to our higher self for inspired solutions. And from the peace at our center, we gain the distance from our emotions to connect to our intuitive wisdom and the inspiration needed to guide our steps in a new direction. I just love how Albert Einstein showed us the impact that can be made when we raise our consciousness and allow ourselves to imagine the possibilities. Now, what does raising consciousness means? It means you experience all the people around you as a part of yourself. For example, what was on our plate yesterday as food was not us. We ate it, and today we experience it as a part of ourself. So we're capable of experiencing anything as a part of ourself if only we include it into our boundaries. We cannot eat the entire universe. We have to expand our boundaries in different ways. Expanding the sensory boundaries in such a way that if we sit here, the entire universe becomes part of us. This is yoga. This is raising consciousness. We're not doing it philosophically or ideologically, but experimentally, using a technological process that everyone can make use of. What a technology is, the nature of the technology is such that it will work for whoever is willing to learn to use it. You do not have to believe it. You do not have to worship it. You do not even have to carry it on your head. You just have to learn how to use it. So yoga can become that technology which with practice can help us raise our consciousness. And to be honest, consciousness is what makes our life worth living. Thanks for listening to Raise to Rise podcast. We would absolutely love to hear your thoughts about today's episode. Please let me know you have listened to this episode and fill me with your aha moment. Share it on Instagram, tag me with hashtag Raise to Rise or at Raise to Rise, and I would love to share those to my stories and shout you out there. I would also love if you can subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. It's our brand new podcast launch, and we have some bonus giveaways going on for the top raters and reviewers. Also, I would love to send you my 7-day parenting journal absolutely for free. All you gotta do is leave me a review in the iTunes store, take a screenshot, and email it over at raisetorisepodcast@gmail.com. Again, take a screenshot of the review and email me at raisetorisepodcast@gmail.com, and I will send you the 7-day parenting journal absolutely for free. Thank you so much for being the active listener of this podcast. I am so grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you for raising your consciousness and rising as joyful beings.